What's up, guys? My name is George Brooks, and I'm one of the founders here at Crema. And on our last video, we were talking about Venture Lab and Lab Fridays and why we do Lab Fridays and what it's about. So if you haven't seen that video, go watch that one. Today, we're going to take some time to talk to one of the Venture Lab teams. So one of the original teams of the 4 or 5 that started was called Vera. And today we have some special guests with us, part of the Vera team, Luis Chagas and Pamela Porto. So thank you guys so much for joining today. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and let's talk a little bit about Vera and about your journey through Lab Fridays. First off, why don't you tell me a little bit, Pamela, you can kick this off because I think it was your idea. Where did the idea from Vera come from and what is Vera?
So the idea came from my own experience. A few years ago when I left my previous job before Crema, my boss gave me this little plant, really cute, and I was like, she was such a special person to me that for the first time I actually wanted a plant to thrive and I wanted to keep it forever. So I had a lot of questions and I downloaded a bunch of apps and none of them helped me. So I was like, this is a market people haven't tapped into it. So cool, good to know. And then it was just always on my mind. So when the idea for Venture Lab came and people started submitting ideas, and I was like, this is an idea I can submit and see what happens.
What was the original idea? What was Vera's original purpose? What does it do?
I always pitch it as we need a better plant care management app. People kill plants. It's all over social media. It happened to me. It happens to a lot of people. And we just need to fix this. So let's see how we can fix it. So that's how I pitched the idea. I didn't know what that could be, hardware, software, but there's a problem and it needs solution.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about that hardware, software. So early on, you pitched the idea to a Lab Friday pitch day. The original idea I think you guys had something more than just what it is now, which is a really simple plant care app. Originally, there might have been some sensors involved. Tell me a little bit about where the kind of the idea, the brain behind maybe actually being able to use sensors early on.
Yeah, so when I was doing research to pitch this idea, I was like, maybe an IoT is what can help people aside an app. So there was like several thoughts around it, but we didn't know what we could do. So it was a lot of exploration at the beginning. So we explored what a sensor could look like at the beginning.
What was it like when somebody said, oh yeah, let's just figure out how to do sensors on plants? Where did you go from there? Where did that idea flourish into?
So I remember listening to Pamela pitch this idea, and I had just been playing with a Raspberry Pi, which is an IoT device. So I was thinking, I bet I can get a moisture sensor and we can add this to an app and make a holistic, complete watering wizard app that's connected to moisture sensors and kind of combine and bring it all together and solve this problem once and for all. So we bought, moisture sensors from China and started playing with them, but it worked, but it wasn't where it needed to be in order to be commercially available. It was a lot more than what we could handle at the time. We would have to figure out shipping, packaging, all of that stuff.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So you had some constraints within the Lab Friday. When you originally pitched, you knew that you were going to basically have every other Friday because we'd already been doing Lab Fridays, right? But in this new model of Venture Lab, you still only had those every other Fridays. You really had mostly the resources from the teams at Crema. What was it like during that pitch or maybe during those early few first Lab Fridays trying to get down to what can you get done in 20 days in 1 year? How was that experience of trying to kind of narrow down to something that was achievable? What was that like?
There was a lot of exploration. Definitely we were open to make mistakes. There was a lot of trial and error. But from the get-go, we knew we wanted to get validation. And I think that was like the first few months focusing on how do we get surveys, how do we get answers, what people actually want, what people like. I'm not a plant person and nobody in the team at that point was. So we got a lot of, we went on Facebook groups, asked people on, plant related groups on Facebook and submitted surveys. We got a lot of data from those, a lot of ideas, and we're able to narrow down what the functionality and features people like.
So early on, you were really just trying to prove that people wanted this at all.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we were focusing on validating the idea that people needed this, because it was just, my perception, Luis's perception, but we didn't know if that was, big enough to make it a business opportunity and something really good for Crema.
So early on, I mean, honestly, did you get that validation? Did you get people saying, yeah, this is a problem, please solve it for me, I build me an app?
Yeah, it was funny because after a few weeks into the project, we found an app that had the same features that we were designing for.
I think it had the same name, didn't it?
Yeah, even the same name.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, we saw the reviews and this is the validation we need. And then it was more like about, okay, let's test what we have and let's see. From a design standpoint, I started just doing medium fidelity wireframes while Luis focused on getting the sensor to work.
Okay, so tell me, early on, who was on the team at the kind of the first part of the first year? What did the team makeup look like? What roles were there, and who was participating in that first year?
So the first year, the year of Venture Lab, and I don't know if you have said this before, it's divided in 3 quarters.
Right.
So the first quarter, it was me as a designer, and Luis, one of the developers, and we had Joel, another developer part-time, and then Ashley as a QA, and she was also doing development. So it was a good combination of, skills. After the first quarter, we were able to recruit another developer and then a marketing person, so that even made the team stronger.
After that first quarter, where we realized that we had way too many constraints to ship a physical sensor, and that there was an app with the same name that we had chosen, doing the same things we wanted to do, the team almost split up. We had our marketing campaign all lined up.
We did. We were really getting there, and
exactly 10 minutes ago, we quit the team.
We quit the team.
Something came up.
Something big.
And the feeling was, for some members at least, myself included, the feeling was, I don't want to keep doing this because it has been done and it's not going to be done in that complete holistic way. So we felt very unmotivated to keep moving forward.
Yep. Yeah. Into Q2. I remember that. I would say that Luis, he was very, at one point he was like, hey, I think we can do this and let's do it. So I was like, do you think we need to recruit another developer?
It's fine. What's up, man?
So Luis was very, positive, and he said, hey, I think we can do this. If you can, we probably just need to recruit one more developer and then let's build it. So that's how we moved into Q2. We had a really good conversation. Hey, if we move, we can either both join another team that needs our skills, especially from the design standpoint, or, we can make this happen.
Fast forward a little bit, you get towards the end of the year, you've gone and you've decided to put the sensor, the IoT side off the table because there's just too much to do. It's not our forte as a company building hardware. And now you're moving into basically saying, how can we go towards actually really building a great app? So let's talk a little bit about that. Where did you get to by the end of the first year as far as building the first app? What did it do? How did you launch, et cetera?
On one of the Fridays, we did a feature design sprint exercise, and I think that during those 4 hours, we were able to get an agreement on what the MVP would look like. So then the team went just heads down to work every other Friday, design, development, and marketing. Okay, well, how can we make this happen? What's going to happen? What do we need to get this MVP out and see if people like it? And then we'll see what happens. That was the mindset to get the app out.
So Louise, what did that take to actually get that built and actually get something launched? Was it just you? What's that team look like from a technical perspective that started to come together to get this actually out?
So technically, it was me and Lex doing development, just two developers. We decided to rely on cloud infrastructure because it's already there. We don't have to worry about building it out. And then we're just like, okay, let's go with a React Native approach that we can build one app that will be good for iOS and Android devices. And we try to build this minimal set of features to make it valuable. And then we just ship it and we wait for public feedback.
So you decided pretty quickly not to leave it in test flight for very often. You guys really, it was in test flight for a short period of time just for internal testing, and then you put it out on the app stores, right?
Yeah, exactly. We sent that to people we interviewed early on to get their feedback, show it to our parents, to our family, friends. We got feedback, really good feedback. And then we just fixed those issues and out into the app store.
So you got it launched towards the end of the year, right? Or was it right before the Christmas or the holiday break, right?
Right before Thanksgiving, actually.
Oh, right. It was a little bit earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
So you launched it to the app stores early Thanksgiving. What does it look like since it hit the app store till we got back from holidays? I know there was kind of this period of it slowly growing, and then all of a sudden we started to see an uptick. What was that like as you started to see people participating?
It's been amazing. I mean, we have received a really good feedback, and users, you know, if they have ideas, if they find problems, they're not shy, and they send feedback through our app or our website. So we always knew the UI and the UX was going to be a difference in our product. So we work really hard to make it customer centric. So we still, before we even try to develop, we will find a few people to test it and see it and get feedback. And it's always around what people want to see and want to use it for.
Yeah, and we keep always trying to bring people from the houseplant community to the user interviews with us and tell them what they think this or that could look like. And I think that the community was very receptive to the app. They could see that it was built by someone that really cares about plants. So they have embraced the app, and it's kind of snowballing. People keep sharing, they keep telling their friends, and keeping bringing more and more people to the app.
Okay, so fast forward a little bit more. It's 2020, we're April 2020. How many people are using the app? What does it look like? Where is it? Tell us what Vera looks like today.
I have some good numbers to share. Vera, right now we're up to 24,000 registered users. We have users in 130 different countries. Vera is being distributed in 3 different languages: English, Spanish, and Portuguese. And last month alone, people have interacted with their plants in our app 160,000 times.
It's crazy, guys. It's so cool. It's just so cool. I love it. I think none of us thought the plant app would be one of the ones that would just take off like this.
Yeah.
I mean, and you guys thought the same thing. There was this point when you thought, I'm just going to give up. And a lot of entrepreneurs go through this phase where they've started to create something. They're either not getting traction, or they don't have money, or whatever. There's some constraint, and they go through this trough of like, why are we even doing this? And then you guys pushed through. You used a creative process, like a design sprint, to actually say, well, okay, maybe how do we think about it differently now? You then built that minimum viable product. You said, test it. Now let's get it in front of real people. And now I've watched you guys, you're just constantly dealing with feedback, which is amazing because people care enough to give you constructive feedback, ask you for what they want on the app to make it better, and to grow this thing. What's the most exciting thing? Obviously the numbers are amazing to see. What's something that's been really, really satisfying or exciting to hear from your users, or that you're feeling on the team right now?
For me, it's been since the moment of the pitch is that I felt in complete disadvantage as a woman pitching an idea, because we see this in the tech community that women face challenges getting funded when they have an idea. And this felt like in a small capacity going on and pitch an idea. And as a new person, I was like 3-4 months in at Crema. Nobody, I have worked with 3-4 people. Nobody knew my skills. Nobody knew me. Nobody even knew my son's skills. So I felt in complete disadvantage against our male counterparts. You read these things online, you see like, oh, women, there are a lot of stats that women don't get. I funded for Adidas. When you have to compare, you are in a situation with people with the same experience, but it's natural. And I saw it at that moment, their male counterparts are gonna get more people to trust them. So I felt in complete disadvantage on that moment. And it's been amazing that Vera, at this point, it's at 80% women. To me, that's the most satisfying thing, that it's been proven that when women are given the opportunity, which in this case, as part of Venture Lab, I had to recruit at least 3 people. And I think I only recruited 2, but I was the 3rd person. So you guys let me, got it. It was like, so for me, that has been the most satisfying thing, is that this team, it's mostly women. So it's.
So actually name that for me real quick. Who's on the team now? Because the team has grown. So name.
Yeah. So the team is.
You're right, a lot of females.
Yeah. So the core team is Luis, Gabby, which is our marketing strategist, Lex, another of our developers, and Ashley.
Yeah.
So Luis, out of the people that have actually been completely involved with the product, Luis is the only male. From the moment that I knew I had to pitch, I knew, okay, I'm gonna leave these things that I read in magazines and statistics. And it was proven. If you go back to that day, like you said, this team barely made it.
I love it. And I am so proud of you guys and in how you've recruited that team. And especially when you guys get up and do demos, just seeing how many ladies are out there. It's super cool. I'm very, very excited about that. Louise, I'll hand it to you. What's something that you're excited about right now? Being the only guy on the team and, one of the lead developers there. Tell me a little bit about what you're excited about with Vera right now.
From a technical point of view, obviously, as I'm a developer, I'm really excited about how we're handling the volume of users that we're dealing with. And we went from having 10, 20, 30 users to having 20,000 users. And that's a technological challenge that I personally love it. How do you deal with scaling? So far we haven't had any hiccups. So I'm really hoping that it will continue that way. And just seeing the involvement of the community, the houseplant community with the app. They go on the app stores, they leave reviews, and then we try to listen to all of that. And then we come up with an update and they come back to give us feedback and change their reviews and say what's good, what's not. So that involvement is very exciting.
Yeah, this is something that Luis has always said, like he wants the app to perform the same way with 100 users with 3,000. So that has always been his North Star. So that's pretty cool, because now we are at over the 3,000, which we thought we were going to have 3,000 by the end of this year when we launch the app.
Okay, so let's wrap up. What I want to talk about now is where is Vera going? What's on your roadmap ahead of you, and kind of in your sights as to where you want to take it next into this kind of year 2 of Venture Lab?
So we are working on adding a really, really cool features that our other apps don't have, but we know users want. I'm going to keep those as a secret. Ooh. They're under development. We are also, we want to keep supporting the product. So at this point, we absolutely see the need to make it, to have a revenue model for it. So we are working on that. So that's going to be really good, because that's going to improve the product. It's going to be an business opportunity for us too, for Crema. So there's so much potential for the product, and we are working so hard to make it customer centric. That's what we want. We want people to use it, love it, and absorb it, help them keep their plants happy.
So this is fantastic. I want to go ahead and wrap up with one final question. What's the biggest challenge that you're facing right now with Vera? Because it's going really, really well. Users love it. The audience is engaged. Your platform's able to manage the scale. What's something that you're finding really challenging right now, knowing that this is not our full-time gig? We're doing this in between client work. What are some challenges that you're facing in supporting Vera right now?
I would say is customer support. We would love to jump if somebody submit an issue to fix it. We just have to, like you said, in between client work, fix this. So that is the biggest challenge. We will love, and I know users understand that we cannot just jump and answer emails right away. So it's that customer support that we definitely want to give. Just sometimes, we are under the venture lab time and also managing client work.
Yeah, the biggest challenge is definitely we're growing too fast, and that's a good challenge to have. But if you think about the team, we're like 5 people working in between client work in order to support this app with thousands of users. So it gets a little bit challenging. How can we support thousands of users with just a really small team working a few hours a week in order to keep this going and growing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it said, guys, I'm so proud of you as to how you've handled that, because that is a huge constraint. And we know that constraint forces creativity. And so I've been really proud to see what you guys have done within those constraints. And I'm excited to see what maybe we can do with Vera in the future. Obviously, we're looking for a way to create an actual revenue model, a business model around this so we can support it, but also potentially looking to raise funds or something like that would help us to continue to support it at a larger scale. So much more to come from that. Well, thank you both so much for joining me today, for jumping on this remote call, because this is, it is April 2020. If anybody knows what's going on in the world, we spent about an hour trying to just get this video call to work. So thank you so much for joining us and for jumping in. And if you're watching this for the first time, if you haven't learned about Venture Lab or Lab Fridays, go back and watch our previous videos. As always, thank you so much for subscribing to our videos, and make sure you give this a like. I mean, come on, these guys are putting their heart and soul into creating this app. Like this video, and then go to the App Store and download Vera. Share it with your family and your friends, and take care of your apps, because you're probably spending a lot more time at home with them right now. And so they need a little bit of love, okay? So thank you all for watching. If you can, be sure to share this and send it on to someone else so that we can make sure that we're growing and sharing more about what Crema's doing, what we're doing with Venture Lab. And then on the next video, we're gonna be talking about breaking down kind of even more the core pieces of what it took to actually build Vera, and some of the things that we're thinking about in each of the crafts or roles inside of Vera. So we'll be talking about design and how we build a design system and actually prototype and test the direction that we're going creatively. And then we'll be having another conversation where we talk about React Native and actually building this technically and being able to launch it to so many people, and of course scaling it to 24,000 people. It's insane. It's awesome. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.